Like every other panel show, let's discuss Guy Debord's theory of the spectacle. So the idea of the spectacle is that we're all trapped, specifically in capitalism, in the advertised life. So when I first got into comedy, I thought the worst thing you could do would be to do an advert, right? But now I think, well, you're trapped in the advertised life anyway. What you should do is do an advert and then just give the money to charity. That's all you can achieve. I got asked to do an advert once for Scottish Blend. You know, the tea people. I wish I'd just taken the money and given it to charity. Admittedly, I don't know what that advert would have been like. People who drink Tetley, fuck kids. The spectacle, said the French Marxist Guy Debord, has replaced normal human relations with the alienation of commodity fetishism, a system of domination that demands your attention, and then your attention achieves your subjugation. And of course, here's the irony. There's not a single thing I can say to you from within the spectacle that won't simply make it stronger. The spectacle, said the French Marxist Guy Debord, is the bad dream of a modern society in chains. And then, in 1994, he shot himself in the heart. The stupid cunt. Joining us to discuss the spectacle, please welcome comedian Sophie Duker. Hey, Sophie.
Hello.
Are you familiar with Guy Debord's concept of the spectacle?
Aren't we all? The thing about it is that it's everywhere. Like, it's in social media, adverts, propaganda, news. We just have to, like, accept it because it's like a part of reality that has become abstracted and then it's consumed us, like as thoroughly as Diane Abbott consumed that mojito. I think it's like in the 60s when you were Guy Debord, you could be a philosopher, you could think critically about it, but now, like, we're so immersed in the spectacle, being a philosopher just means you've seen The Matrix.
What do you feel, Miles? Do you feel you're trapped within the spectacle?
Continually, yes. I think at the moment people just sort of lie all the time. Things like Twitter, people think of a version of themselves and they just contribute to to the spectacle in that sense. The sort of idea, this sort of a corporate consumer thing, individuals are now sort of such a strong part of it that people individually are creating their own spectacles that feed into it and just sort of sitting around thinking, what do I want people to think that I'm like? What do I want people to think I believe? What do I want them to think they're interested in? And they can just do that at the touch of a few buttons. That's why I'm going to go and live in the woods.
You often say this.
This time I mean it, Frankie.
I don't think people should have this kind of conversation if they're not stoned.
You should have come to the green room earlier. Absolutely boxed out of our fucking minds.
I think human beings have always had the same base wants, which are hierarchical. They involve having slightly more than other people. I don't think anyone is trying to puppet master and control people's minds or distract them. People like watching bright, shiny things.
I think the spectacle exists, and it's the kind of a thing that can just get set in motion, and then we all kind of play our part in it. I think if you look at, like, late-stage capitalism where we are now, and you have income equality that is just so insane, the sort of good news about the spectacle is that things are so untenably awful for so many billions of poor people that if the spectacle exists, which I think it does, it will all come crumbling down, and it'll be pretty bloody.
But I think if this was termites, and they were all trying to build a bigger and bigger, and eventually it collapsed on them, that's not sad, it's just something that happened. That's all we're doing.
Okay.
It's not sad.
That's life.
That is sad.
It is sad.
It's sad because we as apes have empathy for things and think that life matters, but it doesn't. In the long scheme of things, it doesn't. We don't care. We care about having more money. We care about having more stuff, and that's why you call it the spectacle, but it's not. It's just ape behaviour.
I like that you've come up with something more depressing than this guy. This guy shot himself in the heart.
Because he still had a heart to shoot.
Modern consumer society is utterly permeated by advertising. Giant faceless corporations will use advertising to present themselves as small, friendly and unthreatening, as we can see in this bizarre yet surprisingly sophisticated ad from Barclays.
When we started selling healing crystals and storing them in a barn, nobody took us seriously. Then our business really started to grow.
And that's why we switched to taking payments with Barclaycard. Now we have 4 barns worth of crystals. Come, let us tell you about our crystals.
This angel aura quartz is believed to stimulate the highest vibration of the third eye.
Just drive along Northfield Avenue and turn onto the A6003 when you reach the A690.
This charming amethyst crystal is believed to be a talisman for the creative arts.
Until you reach Stamford Road. Turn down there.
So if you're serious about your business and want it to grow, search Barclaycard Business today. Goodbye.
Crystals.
Barnes is not a great way to kind of suggest that something is valuable, is it? We've got 4 barns of this shit. I've got a skip full of this magical crystal.
It's sad, like Barclaycard is like over £1 trillion in assets, right? They've got so much money, and in order to be kooky, they're exploiting this penniless guy who believes he's a wizard. Didn't get the grades to go to Hogwarts, so he just sells placebos to muggles. It's so big. Like, the most magical thing in the advert is the card reader.
But I suppose we're showing it because it's kind of the spectacle in miniature, isn't it? So they create this thing that makes these people look foolish, but Barclays are trying to profit from them at the same time. So they're pitching it in a way to go nudge, nudge, wink, wink, look at these people. They're ridiculous. At the same time, we take every business seriously.
But I've never wanted anything more to be a sex cult, because it would be like, like happy. I want her to like dazzle you with the crystals while he puts a sack over your head.
Maybe she's got one of those. What is it? What they do in Essex when they put on your fufu?
Oh, vajazzle.
Vajazzle, but with proper
with
crystals.
proper crystals.
So it's like spiritual as well.
Where do you want your third eye, love?
Like an incurable virus of the human mind, the spectacle is constantly adapting and evolving to stop us becoming immune to its message of consumerism. But that doesn't mean that it necessarily becomes more subtle. Sometimes it needs to be as blunt as a sledgehammer to affect our ruined intellects, as we can see in this garish Jake Paul music video.
Buy that merch, buy that merch, buy that merch, buy that merch. Said, all I want for Christmas is that Jake Paul merch. All I want for Christmas is a Jake Paul shirt. All she want for Christmas is JP I'm a flirt. All I want for Christmas is a JP sweatshirt. Spend $100, free shipping, y'all. Go tell your mama she gotta buy it all.
Enjoy to the world, my merch has come.
Who is that?
Who is he?
Appalling cunt.
Well, he's the brother of Logan Paul, the most famous YouTuber.
The most famous YouTuber we've never heard of.
But even Jake Paul, like all of his videos, they get like 16 million likes each.
Yeah.
He's unstoppable. He's like the super gonorrhea of YouTube.
Is there an argument though when something, so you say that amount of views and obviously that popularity, that is presumably, it's not for us, it's not aimed at us, but it's bringing some people joy. Like, is that
The thing is that when he's like, go and tell your mama she gotta buy it all, like this shows that like his target demographic are like in single digits.
Yeah.
It's basically catfishing children as Santa. All these kids are gonna have terrible grotto etiquette when they come to Jamaica, like goosing Mrs. Claus, like spanking the elves.
That said, the actual merch looks of very high quality.
Lars, if you had merch, what would it be?
Probably one of the books I've written.
Now, you can't plug your books in the middle of a motion about the spectacle.
Fair enough.
With the rise of social media, the spectacle has taken on a new and terrifying form, a sick panopticon prison, which we, the prisoners, are forced forever to build and rebuild. A monstrous, unsatisfiable maw into which we toss our pathetic lives. People are driven insane by its demands. Instagram influencer Marcella Zoya was recently charged with endangering lives in Toronto after her bizarre and reckless phone footage came to light as reported on local news.
She's embarrassed. She's never had to go through anything like this. She had to turn herself in this morning.
Do you want to just stop here and you can stand next to him and they'll speak for you? So yes, you were saying it was a traumatic experience?
Yeah, she's, you guys have put her under a great deal of scrutiny, put her under a microscope for the last 3 days. It's been embarrassing for her family, and she has to deal with that.
Why did she do it though? Why? Can you explain that, Marcella?
No, she has no comments on that. It's a case like any other case. There's a presumption of innocence. I know that they have a great, strong case with the video, but there's going to be ongoing discussions between myself and the Crown, and we'll deal with it as it comes through course.
See, that to me is a spectacle. She's just been gripped by a force she doesn't understand to participate. Ah! And suddenly she's Instagram famous.
She's just a dickhead. And everyone who is a dickhead, and I hate her face.
I think she must be really thick, because I imagine like her friend was just filming her and just went, oh hey, do something crazy, and she threw the chair and the friend was like, not like that, like jazz hands.
Because you see, she throws the chair, you're like, oh, this is going to be bad. And then you're like, oh my God, how many people are going to die?
Yeah, and then still had time to write good morning. There's a little caption underneath it.
That chair actually became a celebrity and has replaced Alex Zane as the host of RidTube Maximum Lols. Well, that's the end of the show. Thanks to my guests, Sarah Pascoe, Miles Jupp, Rob Delaney, Sarah Barron and Sophie Duker! But before I go, I'd like to leave you with this thought. A lot of Britain's problems seem to stem from its complete inability to face up to the loss of empire. There are only 14 overseas territories remaining, one of them being Pitcairn Island, home to only 50 people. Sounds like paradise, until you discover that in 2004, 7 men, a third of the male population, were convicted of underage sex crimes. You can understand why the British elite are so keen to hold on to this beauty. A third of the men being sex criminals creates a sense of nostalgia, reminding our establishment of prep school, university, Westminster, and any time they're in a car with 2 other people. There are those who ask whether the class system is still relevant in the United Kingdom, and perhaps the word kingdom gives us some kind of clue. In Victorian times, the rule of thumb for wealthy families was that the oldest son would run the estate in Britain, and the second son would travel to the colonies to find their fortune. Looked at that way, it's easy to see imperial excess as nothing more than the symptoms of second child syndrome. When Hugo hears that his brother back home has got the orangery up and running, it is in many ways a natural response to systematically starve 20 million people. And in a way, this has happened in modern times too. The members of our elites who used to go into politics now choose real power by going into the finance sector. And we're left with people like Michael Gove. Michael Gove, who looks like a witch tried to turn a schoolboy into a snail and forgot the words halfway through. Michael Gove, a man who is leaving his body to science fiction. Michael Gove, who looks like what remains after the third horse of the apocalypse snags its cock on a fence. Michael Gove is human, certainly, but he is not how we like to think of ourselves. There are no movies where the hero is like Michael Gove. Indeed, even the villains are often more relatable. In fact, the only echo of Michael Gove in the whole of the Western canon would be an occasional character in a cautionary fable for children. A shepherd boy who spreads rumours about the foreign ways of the people from the next village, only to find they're reluctant to help him when he is carried off by a paedophile. There have been reports recently of a drug that can halt dementia in mice. Good news for people with dementia, bad news for mice. Surely the last thing you want when you've been used in a drug experiment and will eventually be thrown into a bin is clarity. And maybe we should ask ourselves whether, with our own immediate political future, we really want clarity either. Good night.